Hi, everybody. So, I have a book today. It's called Tale of the Brave. It's a book that I read to my child, and I thought maybe you guys would like it today. It was a busy day at the clay pits on the island of Sodo. Thomas was there helping out. That afternoon, dark clouds filled the sky, and cold rain started to fall. As Thomas rolled down some slippery tracks, the clay wall next to him began to drip and ooze. Thomas saw strange marks under the falling mud. They looked like giant footprints. Later at Belgian docks, Thomas told Percy about the footprints. I don't know what could have made them. They were bigger than any animal on Soldo. Do you mean they are from a monster? Percy wished. Don't be silly, Percy. There's no such thing as monsters. Percy could not stop thinking about monsters as he came to the top of the hill. He saw a strange shape in the distance. What's that? Percy puffed. I hope it's not a monster. I don't usually get mistaken for a monster, the big engine tooted, but they do call me Gator. It seems folks think I look like an alligator. Excuse me, I swallowed something down the wrong pipe. Everywhere Percy went that night, he thought he saw strange creatures. Trees and haystacks became monsters. Laundry on clotheslines looked like ghosts. Percy was so scared he didn't even deliver the mail. The next day, Percy saw James. Hello, scary engine. James puffed. See any monsters lately? You can tease if you want, Percy peeped. But Thomas saw giant footprints at the pits. There might be monsters on Soldo. I don't think there's monsters on Soldo. James was busy thinking about monsters when he turned the corner into the scrapyard and came face to face with jagged teeth and crooked claws. No! James peeped. Help! James realized it was only a pile of broken metal. Down at the docks, Percy saw Gator. I'm heading across the sea soon, Gator puffed. I wish I were as brave as you, Percy peeped. Being brave is not the same as not feeling scared, Percy. Being brave is what you do even when you're scared. Percy decided to be brave and pulled the mail truck that night. His boil bubbled proudly as he chugged across the countryside. Nothing scared him. Gator's right, he tooted. I can be brave. Meanwhile, Grumpy James was not as happy. He needed to haul a train full of fresh fish. As he rounded a bend, he saw a large shadow shape. He didn't realize it was only Gator. James raced away. He was so frightened that he jumped off the rails into the pond. James had to be hoisted out of the pond by Rocky. When the other engines saw him, they had a good laugh. You were meant to deliver the fish, Harry puffed, not throw them back in the water. James didn't like these jokes one bit. He showed everyone that Percy was the real scary engine, not him. That night, Percy saw something unusual, something big. This wasn't a haystack or a funny-looking engine. It groaned and flashed its big teeth in the moonlight. Percy didn't want to be brave anymore. He dropped his mail truck and raced back to the shed. The next day, Thomas saw James with a truck full of scrap. Right, where Percy had seen the monster. James, Thomas tooted, you made a monster out of scrap metal to give Percy a fright. You need to find him and apologize. The two engines split up to find Percy. Percy found Gator on his ship. I'm going far away, Percy puffed. I'll show everyone how brave I can be. Gator thought for a moment. Running away from your problems is not very brave, Percy. Thomas chugged across Soldo, looking for Percy, but when he heard the distant ship blow his horn, a terrible thought flew into his funnel. Oh no, Thomas peeped. I know where Percy's going. Percy, come down, Thomas whistled. You can't leave. Gator peeped over the railing of the ship. Percy's not here. Thomas could think of only one other place where Percy might go. Night was falling as Percy quickly rolled through the clay pits. He stopped when he reached the warning signs. If I can find the footprints, it will prove the monster's real, he thought, and everyone will know how brave I am. At that moment, James rolled up. He started to apologize, but Percy interrupted him. I am brave you ever be, Percy puffed. James didn't like Percy's attitude. If you're so brave, why have you stopped at the danger signs? And James saw something in the moonlight. It had claws and teeth. The monster! Whooshed James. He tried to back up, but the walls began to rumble and tumble. It's a landslide, Percy peeped. Go forward, James. Percy pushed James out of the way. Mud slid down, and the monster's head started moving towards Percy. That's when Percy made a discovery. It wasn't a monster. It was some sort of rock. The next day, Thomas carried a group of scientists to the clay pits. They were amazed by what Percy had found in the mud. It's a dinosaur fossil, one scientist explained to Thomas. Fossils are what we call bones that have been in the ground for millions of years. Soon the fossils were put on display in the town square. Sir Top Hat addressed the excited crowd. Today was made possible by a very special engine. Percy's not only a real useful fossil hunter, but also one of the bravest engines on Sodal. But Percy was not there. Percy was at the dock saying goodbye to Gator. As the ship sailed away, James rolled up and apologized to Percy. Gator gave me one more piece of advice, Percy puffed. James pulled closer to hear the wise words. You said not to let you near the pond anymore. Even James thought this was a funny joke. The friends whistled with joy. That end. The reason I read this book today was because we are all brave, no matter what. We are fighters, we are heroes, we are brave. So I want everybody who's out there who's a hero or a firefighter or a nurse or a doctor or anything to be proud of themselves for being brave in this time of need. I hope you all are staying safe and being safe and taking precautions during this horrible pandemic. Please, if you guys have any advice or want me to talk about anything positive, leave a comment below. I will reply to you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.